Gundam Thunderbolt is one of the most raw and just unique anime I've ever seen. So this is an alternate UC timeline, but that's not really important. The world building of this story is background info, it's mostly standalone. Gundam Thunderbolt, in the face of everything else, is just a character-driven story about a vitriolic, intense rivalry between E.O. Fleming, a deranged, battle-hungry Gundam pilot, and Daryl Lawrence, a sympathetic, cripple Zaku pilot. The story takes place in the Thunderbolt sector, a section of destroyed colonies and the brutal fighting between the Zeon and Feds. In a skirmish where Daryl snipes E.O.'s squad mates, E.O. in response brutalizes Daryl's buddy. From there, the two fight more and more and push each other into obsessive depravity. I recently just got done watching both seasons for the first time, and in this video we'll be going over my takeaway and my review. We'll be talking about things in a general manner and in more of a casual way. The mobile suit fights in this are just amazing. It feels like they poured all of the budget and love that was lost from narrative into this. It's done with spectacle and creativity. Like no other Gundam show will show you the FPS game perspective of a Zaku getting overwhelmed and destroyed by the absolute speed and velocity of a Gundam. No other Gundam show will show you an amphibious Gundam hopping around and like fighting through water and ice, getting chained up, still coming on top. It's real awesome. This thing has a freaking railgun? Other than that, you get a real ugly view of brutality. Like a lot of fittingly senseless yet chaotic warfare between both sides. We gotta mention the main duels between E.O. and Daryl too. These two feel like they're perfectly matched. It's like a dance. It's kind of like the Star Wars prequels. Daryl's long-range maneuverability versus E.O.'s relentless onslaughts. So if your question going into this video is Gundam Thunderbolt gonna give me my money's worth on cool robot fights? The answer is obviously yes. But you know what else is really great about this? It's just the whole vibe of it. The thing about Gundam Thunderbolt is it's really only anime by strict definition. Nah man, this is a war film. We're talking Apocalypse Now, Full Metal Jacket. Scummy soldiers that act like jerks to each other, sarcasm, brotherhood, gooners. I wonder if I'm gonna say that word every video now. There's a real boot camp feel to the interactions here. It goes to insane lengths to humanize everyone. There's insignias on the helmets and mobile suits, akin to World War II. It feels as if it was a real war happening right now, but if we had mobile suits. Does it make sense that we would still act the same way if our culture developed that much? Maybe not, but that's the world we see in this, and it makes it really easy to relate to. Adding to the rawness of the storyline is the soundtrack. There's no swelling orchestras or overwhelming emotion in this. Instead, the soundtrack is entirely made up of insert tracks and unconventional genre picks. See, the thing about E.O. and Daryl is that they both use music as a way to calm down and disassociate from the killing. I really want to zone in on E.O.'s taste in jazz though. Ask any Gundam fan if a jazzy soundtrack would be fitting, and most people would probably say maybe no past the 80s era of the series. Yet this series makes the ultra-based and weirdly apt choice to just go with it anyway. The thing about jazz is it's an inherently chaotic genre. The greats of the genre like Miles Davis often talked about how they would just try to convey an emotion and play their way, improvising and leaning wholly into live performance. E.O. Fleming, and by extension Thunderbolt, use jazz as an analog for warfare. E.O. views himself as an improvisational warrior that can only shine by refining his craft in chaos and death. Sounds metal, right? Well, no, I mean it's jazz, but yeah. Daryl, on the other hand, he's a little bit more of a beta male. The songs he listens to are all like a little bit more romantic and nostalgic, reflecting his longing for love and home. He's just a real sweet boy. It's honestly really impressive that they were able to convey such complex emotions and concepts just with the soundtrack. I think it's also neat that so many of the tracks are in English and even from other cultures. That's something that feels very fitting to Gundam for me. It's always been a multicultural franchise and multinational franchise. Many characters from very different walks of life, and this uses that and makes you feel that. It's such a unique, universally appealing vibe, kind of like a Guardians of the Galaxy type thing. I also feel like I need to give credit to the English dub. I know what you're thinking, right?
Here I come, Marshmallow Man!
Trust me, they cooked with this. Max Middleman is E.O.
Now, Gundam! Let's see you blow my mind! This song's got me so pumped. When you can hear this jazz, it means it's over for you.
Aura Stahl as Bianca is a similar case.
No need to give me special treatment. Pray for yourself!
And the rest of the cast cooks too. I highly recommend you guys check out the dub versions of the compilation movies if you want to rewatch it. It hits on the rawness and multiculturalism points really well. So yeah, both Thunderbolts are production masterpieces and an absolute joy to watch for someone who loves anime. I have one final question for you guys before I get into my own thoughts. Is it all style and no substance? Personally, for me, for the first season or first movie, I would say it absolutely has substance. Io and Daryl, as our main representatives of both main factions, are so different in several ways, while also feeling like perfect reflections in how they cope with the war. It wordlessly conveys to us a similar message as War in the Pocket, about how two souls that could otherwise get along are forced into killing each other by the absolute absurd concept that is war. Trust me, being compared to War in the Pocket is a great thing. The Living Dead division of soldiers that wear prosthetics is a great way to explore the desperation of science in war. People in unfortunate situations are experimented on, their lives commodified. It symbolically shows that their bodies and souls are almost sacrificed to the dark god of idealism. Meanwhile, the scientists inflicting this on them are equal victims, believers in helping the human race progress, forced to become inhumane to make faster progress and get more results. This is something that we've seen reflected in our own society a lot, and I think that's a really good thing that is often not explored in the franchise. Thunderbolt 1 also explores the chain of command in interesting ways with Cynthia, Io's girlfriend and the captain. She feels responsible and detached from the consequences of command. Do we blame her for the suffering of those below her, or do we simply see her as another victim of circumstance? Ultimately, Thunderbolt doesn't answer that many questions, but it asks so many good ones in such a short amount of time that it feels like a very worthwhile watch. I'd call season 1 one of the best parts of the franchise, and it's one of the first things I'd show a new fan after the original show. You get personal reflection and awesome action for your time. Plus, it might make you a based jazz enjoyer. Now, how about season 2? Speaking frankly, just an opinion, I'm not a fan. So this season jumps quite a bit ahead in the manga source material, and the entire thing is about how Daryl and Io, and the Zeon Remnant and Federation, are both separately fighting a new enemy, the South Seas Alliance. This is where the real biggest problem pops up. These dudes are a bunch of bald, new type worshipping monks that are all portrayed as entirely insane mental slaves. They really said, yeah, let's humanize everyone in season 1, but in season 2, we'll get wacky with it. Anyway, it could work, but it's not really a faction that we can understand until the last 5 minutes of the movie, because they're not even fully explained, and the rest of the storyline is just kind of playing catch up so you can understand what's happening. It sets up a lot of different plot lines, but it doesn't answer many questions, and it overall just feels like it lacks the punch that made the first Thunderbolt so good, which is a shame because I respect the work that went into it a lot, and I like the characters in it. Like, Bianca is really cool, and I like the scene where they play jazz, but that's just my thoughts. What do you guys think? Was I too harsh on Thunderbolt 2? A lot of you guys don't know me too well yet, but I'm actually not a veteran of the franchise. I just got into Gundam this year, so as I make videos on stuff, it's my first time that I'm actually sharing with you. So that's something kind of cool about it, but it also definitely shows in my inexperience, right? God bless you guys. Peace.